Breaking news. Lord Yahweh of the Eden Project has evicted Adam and Eve from his private garden. Good evening. I'm Deborah Devine, and this is Scripture TV. Lord Yahweh has posted tonight that his experiment with the prototype man and woman has ended in failure. Here to tell us more is the Lord himself, coming to you live from the gates of Eden. Lord Yahweh, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure, Deborah.
Can you tell us why you evicted your tenant workers from the Garden of Eden?
They violated our terms and conditions.
I see.
I provided a living arrangement that was practically a paradise, complete with organic fruits and vegetables, all you can eat.
Well, that sounds nice.
All I commanded in return was that they stay away from a certain tree.
Why was he to stay away from the tree?
It was a test of obedience.
Was there something special about this tree?
Not really. I made up a spooky name for it, and I told him if he touched it, he would die.
What was the spooky name?
The tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
Okay, so you have a garden with a forbidden tree and a man named Adam. Where does the woman come in?
I realized that something was missing, so I conjured up a creature to be his companion, but it wasn't suitable. Adam called it a goat.
A goat?
We tried one creature after another, but none of them were suitable. Adam was naming them day and night, and no work was getting done.
That sounds like chaos.
As a last resort, we tried another woman, and this one clicked. He cleaved unto her, and they became one flesh.
Okay, we might have to cut that part out.
Her job was wife. That's like a servant with benefits. And she was compliant.
And when you say another woman, you're alluding to the previous one. Lilith, I believe, was her name.
Yes.
You originally conjured her with Adam as a match set, right? What was the problem there?
Lilith was not compliant.
But the new one?
At first, there was probably too much cleaving unto the wife, but that tapered off. The property was being kept up and tended to. Things were looking pretty good.
Oh, I'm so glad.
But then, this morning, as I went out walking in the cool of the day, Adam and the wife were nowhere to be seen.
Excuse me, isn't her name Eve?
Why, yes, but Adam didn't name her that until this afternoon, after everything went down.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I was looking for them all over the place, and I was shouting, "Adam! Adam!" Nothing.
Goodness, that must have been concerning.
Finally, I heard something rustling in the bushes, and there they were, all decked out in fig leaf bikinis.
You paint a vivid picture.
I knew right away what had happened by the guilty look on their faces and the half-eaten fruit laying on the ground.
I'm shocked. Shocked, I tell you.
I confronted Adam. He blamed the wife. So I confronted the wife, and she blamed the snake.
Wait, what?
Oh, I forgot to mention, there was a talking snake, a radical left-wing lunatic.
Was this by any chance a shape-shifting snake who doubles as a human rights attorney by the name of Saul the Serpent?
That's the guy.
Well, it just so happens that we have a Scripture TV crew standing by with Mr. the Serpent. So if there are no objections,
I object.
Please welcome Saul the Serpent, Esquire, from his offices in East of Eden.
Good evening, Deborah, Lord Yahweh.
So, Mr. the Serpent.
Please, just call me Saul.
Okay, Saul, it appears your clients,
Adam and Eve,
are clearly guilty of violating their agreement with the Lord. Now, what do they expect to gain by engaging an attorney?
We are seeking a favorable verdict in the court of public opinion. We realize that Scripture TV has no choice but to record Lord Yahweh's version of events for future generations. We just want our version out there as a counterbalance.
What on earth are you talking about?
Lord Yahweh has failed to mention several important details.
Such as?
The truth is that his workers were unpaid, unhoused, and unclothed. I mean, literally naked, sleeping on the ground.
No.
Furthermore, they were expected to sustain themselves by foraging for nuts and berries and other raw vegetation that they scavenged from the property, basically eating like raccoons. I would hardly call that a paradise.
Is this true, Lord Yahweh?
I suppose, but they never complained.
Because, Deborah, they didn't know anything else was possible. They've been kept isolated in the garden in a state of complete ignorance. And they are clearly undocumented, possibly trafficked.
Is it true, Lord Yahweh, that you're using illegal immigrants as gardeners?
Certainly not. And what if I am? I can do whatever I want.
This is not a good look.
That's irrelevant. They violated our agreement.
Your so-called agreement has no legal standing. It was made without their informed consent.
I don't need their consent.
You lied to them when you said they would die if they ate the forbidden fruit.
We're all going to die, Saul. Well, not me, but everyone else is.
Oh, okay, we might have to cut that part out too.
You hid from them the knowledge of good and evil, as if it were your own personal intellectual property, when in fact it's in the public domain.
So knowledge of good and evil is actually a thing? Lord Yahweh, you said you made that up.
I made up the thing about the forbidden tree. The tree of the knowledge of good and evil is the name of the tree.
So what is it, the knowledge of good and evil?
I'll answer that. It's not simply knowing right from wrong, as one might think. There is no litmus test for every thought and deed to tell you if it's good or evil. And there is no algorithm that will relieve us of the hard work of building moral character and wisdom. We have no list of good things or evil things. Let empathy be your guide. Start where you find yourself and love the ones you're with. Then expand your empathy to all of creation. You have a duty to care, not to consume.
I told you he was a radical left-wing lunatic. I'll make a list for you, and it won't be long or complicated. And the first things on it will be about me. And then we'll make some rules to protect the people that have stuff from the people that don't.
That sounds about right.
Gentlemen, please, my audience wants to hear about the crime. What actually happened?
They ate the fruit and became woke.
Excuse me, Saul, she was asking me. They disobeyed me. My one commandment. They failed my test.
Were there any witnesses? Do we know what actually happened?
The Serpent was there. He instigated the whole thing.
I admit I was there.
As a snake?
Yes, I struck up a conversation with the girl, now known as Eve.
Let's back up for a moment. I have a couple of questions. Both of you have said she wasn't called Eve until this afternoon.
Correct.
That's right.
What was she called before that? Gentlemen?
Nothing.
Nothing?
There was no need. She was Adam's wife.
But how did you address her?
I didn't address her. I never spoke to her.
You never spoke to her?
Not until she ate the forbidden fruit.
Okay, I'm starting to get the picture. One more thing. Lord Yahweh has referred to her as a woman, and you, Saul, referred to her as a girl. How old is she?
Old enough.
12.
What's going on here?
She's old enough to be a wife.
She's too young to enter into a contract with a powerful lord.
But how old is she?
Well, I just made her a few weeks ago, so technically she's about 1 month old. But I intended her to be of good childbearing age, so I'd say she's about 21.
Fiddlesticks. She's not a day over 15. I'd say she's closer to 13, which, as you know, is about the age that girls are married off around here.
Lord Yahweh is technically correct. She is old enough to be a wife.
Thank you for backing me up on this.
She would be too young to enter into a contract if she were male, but she's not. As a female, she can't enter into a contract at any age, but her husband can, and he did.
This is a sad state of affairs.
Let's get back to our crime story. Saul, you were saying you struck up a conversation with Eve?
Yes.
Did you trick her, Saul?
I don't think so. Not really.
Well, what exactly did you say to her?
I asked her if Yahweh had forbidden them from eating from all the trees in the garden.
I told you he was subtle.
Saul, I'm sure you knew that wasn't the case, that there was just one forbidden tree.
All right, I'm no angel, okay?
Then what?
She said they could eat from any tree in the garden except the one, and if they ate from it or even touched it, they would die, which is total bullshit.
Behave yourself, Saul. This is family viewing.
I'm sorry, but this was really upsetting. She didn't know why the tree was forbidden. She knew nothing about good and evil, and she believed what she'd been told, and it was a lie.
You're despicable, the Serpent.
I simply told her the truth, that she would know good and evil like Yahweh, and that she wouldn't die. For the first time in her life, someone had told her the truth.
Truth? She can't handle the truth.
Where was Adam during all this?
He was right there with us, and he said nothing.
What a disappointment he is.
Then she took a bite, slowly. I think she was waiting to die. After a few moments, she began to chew. Her eyes widened, and she became radiant. Tears spilled down her cheeks, and with a cracking voice, she said, "He lied to us."
Disgusting.
I have goosebumps.
He took the fruit from a trembling hand, looked at it closely, and bit into it. The next thing I know, they're in each other's arms, holding tight and crying their hearts out.
Oh boy, cue the violins.
She must have been going through so many emotions. But why did she cover up?
She realized that Adam and Yahweh were always checking her out, weighing the beauty and the imperfection to see if she was hot or not.
Tell me about it.
I told her she wasn't imagining it. It's called the male gaze.
That's absurd.
It's creepy.
Why would I look at her that way? I could have any woman I want. Just look at me. I'm big and strong. I have power the likes of which the world has never seen.
Calm down there, big boy.
I like beautiful women as much as anyone, and many of them on the younger side.
I think we're getting way off topic.
I just start kissing them. I don't even wait.
We're definitely going to have to cut this out.
When you're a god, they let you do it. Grab 'em by the... Okay, let's move on.
Thank you.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Wait a minute, I'm not on trial here.
We'll see about that.
Okay, so that was the crime, but what about the punishments?
No one was actually punished, Deborah. It was more like the Lord pretended to curse us.
I don't understand.
Neither do I.
I was the first to receive Lord Yahweh's judgment. He said I was to be cursed above all cattle and beasts of the field, which is gibberish.
Why is that?
Are we to understand now that all beasts are cursed, and serpents even more so? He claims I shall go upon my belly. Duh. I am a snake. I like being a snake. That's no punishment.
What about Eve?
The Lord seems to single out Eve for his most severe condemnation, claiming he shall greatly multiply thy sorrow in thy conception, and in sorrow thou shalt bring forth children. Certainly bringing forth children is a risky and painful affair. Yet most women, at some point, yearn for this blessed event.
How would you know?
No, it's true, we do.
For the Lord to terrify a young girl such as Eve and make her think it's a cursed thing and that she's to blame, I think it's a terrible way to behave.
I don't say it was all her fault. It's you who's to blame, Serpent.
For what, Yahweh? Telling the truth about your forbidden fruit? I'll take the credit for that. But for the painful nature of childbirth? No. That's just part of being human.
I have to say, this puts things in a different light.
Say, whose side are you on? It would be a shame if something were to happen to your broadcast license.
Well, if Eve's punishment was just that Lord Yahweh made her feel guilty, that seems rather lenient, don't you think, Saul?
Would that it were so simple. He went on to tell her, thy desire shall be for thy husband, and he shall rule over thee.
I'm sorry, what?
Why does it bring up a woman's desire in this context of shame and punishment? If anyone's carnal desire is a burden, it would be the man's. Just ask St. Augustine. But it's the last part. He shall rule over thee. That's really a curse. Men will see this as a license to oppress women and girls from here on out. This puts half the human race below the other, and both will suffer as a result.
I'm sorry, Saul, but now you sound hyperbolic.
Oh, really? Ask Yahweh what was Adam's crime.
Disobedience.
In the garden you said, because thou hast hearkened unto thy wife. In other words, because he let a woman have a say.
Of course I did. What is it about this you don't get? If he ignored her, told her to shut up, he would still be here, working in my garden, clueless about good and evil, the way I intended.
Wow, this really hurt your feelings.
Of course it hurts.
What is it, Lord, that you want?
All I ask is that everyone love me
with all their hearts and all their soul and all their mind and all their strength.
Wow.
Oh, and keep the Sabbath. No work. Not you, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your manservant, nor your maidservant, nor your cattle, nor any strangers with you.
What about your wife?
Someone has to work. There's chores to be done, after all.
Goodness.
Oh, and no graven images. No likenesses of anything. And some other stuff.
Okay then, that seems pretty clear. In exchange for this, you promise what?
Not to burn in the fires of hell for all eternity.
What about here and now?
I make no promises about your earthly life.
Yeah, just ask Job.
Lord, do you still expect everyone to love you after you turned your back on them? Curse the women? Curse the land?
I didn't turn my back on them. I just evicted them. I even made them cute, furry outfits before they left.
You know they're vegan, right?
I'm keeping an eye on them, and I'm meeting with Adam soon to let him know what's expected going forward.
What is expected going forward?
Oh, blood sacrifices, burnt offerings, that sort of thing.
I see. Anything else?
Oh, yes, there'll be lots more rules, several books full. But don't worry, Deborah. You'll be the first to know. I want everything recorded by Scripture TV. That will be very important.
We're just about out of time. Saul the Serpent, do you have any closing thoughts?
I'll just say that Eve and Adam are doing as well as can be expected after being so bitterly deceived by Lord Yahweh. It'll be a while before they can put their trust in any figures of authority.
Well, that wraps it up for our show tonight. Be sure to tune in at 11 when our late show host, Conan Barbarian, has a very special guest, the hottest goddess in Canaan, the lovely Asherah.